Welcome to Tech in the Car. In this video we're going to go through the Mercedes A35, the entertainment system in here, the infotainment, what it does, how it works. This is the MBUX Mercedes-Benz latest infotainment system, and I'm going to show you around it. There's a lot of stuff here. If you like this video, don't forget to comment, like and subscribe. So this is the layout of the Mercedes A-Class. You can see here this large display for the infotainment and then your driver controls here, and there's a lot of options here. So we have a touchpad below, and it's also a touch screen, so I can swipe across like this, or I can use a touchpad. I'm going to use a touchpad for this. So we've got our phone settings, navigation, radio, media, comfort, performance settings. Let's have a look at the car settings. We have our quick access settings, which include access to your assistance settings, your vehicle lights system, and your owner's manual. If we go into assistance, you can see I can go through camera and parking, so it warns me and sets a tone, pitch and volume. I can have it fading, I can have maneuvering assistance. I can even open the camera cover if I want to clean the camera. I can go to my speed limit assist, and I can see visual and audible, just visual or off, and I can set a warning threshold, so whether it's 5 miles, up to 5 miles above the speed limit. My active lane keeping assist, I can have standard, sensitive, off and warning. Sensitive will mean it's more likely to correct you and keep you in your lane. I personally prefer that, but lots of people don't. Active brake assist, early, medium, late and off. Exactly the same idea. If a car brakes in front of you, it will detect it and stop either slightly earlier, slightly later, or it'll be off totally. Again, always good to have that on. I would recommend early. Attention assistance, making sure you pay attention when you're driving, and again, it can give you choice between sensitive, standard, off, and suggesting a rest area, which is very cool. If we now go up back to vehicle settings, tap on that, we've got our winter tires, we've got acoustic lock, automatic locking, automatic folding mirrors, and a search for petrol stations if you're running low. Our light settings, ambient lighting. So this car has really cool ambient lighting. You might be able to see it even though it's daytime. There are down the side here LED lights. Right now they're in a purplish color. You can adjust those, you can adjust the color, you can have multicolor. This might be a point at which I use my finger to change the color. You can choose between them. So these are preset settings, and this will change the colors. You can have them animating too. Turn them back on. And you can have welcome effects, climate effects as well. So that will light up around the climate controls. And we can adjust the brightness. Right now it's at full ambient, emphasis, lighting and vents. These are all at maximum brightness for ambient, emphasis and vents. That's how I would have mine. If we go to system, we can change the styles and display. Right now I'm in Super Sport on the center display here, but I can change it to Sport, which looks like this with 2 dials, to Classic, which looks slightly different colors, but very similar. And then back to Super Sport, which shows you all your performance data. And then we've got our owner's manual, which I won't click on, but that is very self-explanatory. It's an online owner's manual. And you do have access, again, quick settings to Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, hotspots for the vehicle, activate it, set it up, check your internet status, saying we're online with 4G LTE. So I can access these quickly by just tapping down from the main system settings. And I can also turn the system off or the display off with that quick setting there. Then we got Mercedes Me and apps. This gives you access to the Mercedes app, so you can see what's happening with your car, check various settings, and the browser as well. This car does have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. I'm not able to show those to you, but they are on here as well. And then we've got our performance settings. So I can set up individual configuration, drive in sport or dynamic, put the transmission in manual or automatic, dynamic, and the dynamics again, how the car suspension responds. It's all in dynamic, and you can have it so it asks you when you're starting what you want, which is quite cool. If we go into the vehicle settings, I can change whether it shows me these different settings. Here's the tire pressures and temperatures. Very useful when you want to keep an eye on what's going on with your tires. Engine. So these mirror the display information on the driver's cockpit. But if you had something else up there, you could then have that on there, and you can see your engine output in PS, torque in Newton meters, and of course your temperature for oil. And you can see your consumption. And this is a bit like a Tesla. It's got a little graph which shows you how much consumption. And over the last 30 minutes, it's telling me I've got 9.2 mpgs, which is not very fuel efficient, it would be fair to say. If we go into ambient lighting comfort, so this is basically a quick setting for what I've just shown you already. Allow me to go into that. If you don't want to do it through the settings for car, you can do it through there. We've got our media settings, so you can choose between Bluetooth and USB, and you can go through and you can change all these settings. I can change the equalizer, I can change the treble, bass, mid. I can do my device manager, and I can see my devices, and I can go into the settings and disconnect or reauthorize them. If I go back to sound, you can of course adjust the balance and fader to move backwards and forwards, and have automatic adjustment for when you're driving too. Radio, so here we are at radio, very self-explanatory. They've got nice artwork for the radio stations. We've got DAB, we can search for the radio stations, we can adjust the order, we can mute it, we can make it so it's full screen if we want to enjoy the network art like that. If we go over to navigation, we've got Mercedes navigation. We can choose between 3D and 2D. You can show where the nearest parking spaces are. I can set my route up as well. I can turn my traffic on and off if I want to or if I need to. I can show parking, motorway information, go into advanced. I can change the map elements. So we have satellite map, but this is as you would expect from a navigation system. And then into your phone settings, you can see your contacts, your call list, your favorites. Very, very self-explanatory, very easy to use. Up top here, we've got our notifications. If there are notifications, you'll be able to see them, and you can see what those notifications are. And then I can go back to home. If I swipe down, I can see themes, and now I can change between themes depending on what I want. So these themes will change the backgrounds, the colors in the car, also what is displayed on the center dashboard here. So right now it's changed to show me my tire pressures, and it's also changed the exhaust note as well. And so we can go through these themes. This is racetrack mode. We can go back to standard, and that will close a valve in the exhaust, and it'll go back to this blue effect, and I can hear the difference it makes. It does make a difference. I can go to my trip mode. That will then bring up the map, and on the driver's cockpit it will show an overview of my car assistance features. So those are the themes. We try lounge as well. So you can see what lounge looks like. Lounge brings up the radio, and now it's got a much larger display here on the front showing the driver assistant features front and center. And these themes are quite quick and easy ways to go between the various different settings. What does experience do? Let's have a look at experience. Experience again has a mixture of information. We've been through racetrack, and you can create new themes. You can adjust the lighting, you can adjust whether it's radio, where the audio comes from, the background for the virtual cockpit, you can adjust that. You can adjust the background image, and you can name it whatever you want. So that's very cool. And then you can set up your favorites, you can set up your assistants. You can set up your sound, you can turn the display off, you can set your home if you want to as well. Very easy to use. At the bottom you'll see settings for your climate control. We can go to auto. Very nice and cool. We can go to off. We can turn it up so it's just one. And there are physical buttons underneath here that you can see which will do that as well, but in terms of actually doing it on the screen, it does let you do that as well. Physical buttons are always good. And then you can sync all of the vents so they're the same on both sides as well. and you can change the order around as well. So that is what the main infotainment screen looks like. Let's have a look at the driver's display now. So the first thing you'll notice about it is if I tap on the button here, I can bring up my settings and I can go through AMG performance, trip, radio, media, styles and display, service, all using this little touch button here on the side. If we start off with, let's do it in order here, service will bring up your service information. If we start with styles and display, if I tap on this, I can go through and I can change the design of the virtual cockpit. And I can have it however I want. We can have understated if we want, which will make it very minimalist, as you can see. Or we can go back and we can have it back in standard displays. We can go across and we can go over to classic, which looks like this. And you've already seen this, I've showed you, but this is controlling it from the steering wheel. Let's go back to Super Sport, like that. And of course, I can change what's in the center here, consumption, G-forces, efficiency, mileage. I can make the assistance features and the efficiency full screen like this, if I want to. I can go into performance, and I can change whether it shows a horsepower and torque, G-forces, revs, temperatures of oil, all really, really cool stuff. I can bring up my navigation, and I can scroll through my navigation settings. I can have the map on the side here. I can go through my favorites. I can swipe to the side, and I can move the information from side to side, have the music information, the trip itinerary. There's a lot of customizableness here. It's making it very easy for you to choose what you want to do here. If we go back to here, we can show your telephone settings in the middle. We can bring up the assistance features, which I can then turn on and off and adjust on here and see full screen, which makes it really easy to see what's going on. We can go back, we can look at our trip information. Again, it will show it full screen. We can choose media, and then I can move forwards and backwards through the tracks and control the volume from the remote here on the side. So this gives you a lot of control over what you want your dashboard to be like, how you want it displayed, what you want displayed, whether you want your maps or your consumption or your G-force. Let's go to G-force, and I'll swipe over to the other side here, my speed, or maybe I prefer to have on the side here my engine performance, my revs. There we go. There's a lot of control here between what you want. And if you look at this inside of the car just in general, we've got the steering wheel here. This is a beautiful steering wheel with a metal in the middle here, the leather with a perforated leather. You've got your controls here, you've got your racing stripe at 12 o'clock. And as I mentioned before, the buttons on the steering wheel, the right hand side controls the screen in front and the left hand side controls the screen on the other side. So the main infotainment system is controlled by that screen there, and exactly the same way I can swipe between the various settings, go into my performance settings, volume, phone calls, favorites, voice control, back. So everything's really nicely and easily controlled from the steering wheel. And the interior of this car is fantastic as well. I mean, if you look down here, these are your light controls. I can turn my lights on and off. We've got the handbrake as well. On the other side here, we have our controls for the windscreen wipers and indicator. We've got these beautiful vents which look amazing. We've got our climate controls down here as well. And the climate controls give you control without having to use the buttons on the screen. And it's just got an amazing design. You can just see the quality of this car from the red seat belts. Just everything looks amazing in here. In typical Mercedes fashion, the Alcantara on the door inserts. If you look down here, you can see how you can control. You've got a little armrest here. Then you've got control for your settings, your volume, navigation, map, radio, media, telephone, cameras. Let's look at the cameras here. I can scroll through them. So this is the background cameras for the back of the car. You can see it's showing me a really nice, almost 360 view there. This car is not equipped with total 360 cameras, but you can see it's got much better visibility than most other cars. Quick access to your settings, car settings, favorites button. So all of this is here. In the middle here you have your USB Type-C. You also have a USB Type-C here as well, where you can connect your phone to down there. So this is a really cool car, very, very nicely done. Beautiful to look at. So welcome to the Mercedes. We're gonna go for a little drive now and see what it's like to drive. So this car is very responsive to drive. It feels very comfortable. The displays are really nice. You feel like you're in a very modern car. You feel like it just oozes quality. There's no doubt about it. It's a different feel to the new A3. I haven't driven the new A3, but it definitely has a different feel to that. But it's very interesting to compare them both side by side and see what they're like. And it's definitely a lot of comparisons between the advanced technology in them and how they work, but there are differences too. Mercedes' approach is different to Audi's. So this is a great car to drive, feels very good in traffic, feels like it's got good acceleration. I would recommend it if you're after an A35. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you.